Alright, you lot, we're going to break this down to the bone, literally, because men and women are not equal and will never be equal. They are designed to be complementary to each other's strengths and weaknesses. Now, if any of you ignorant and intolerant political SJWs already got triggered and immediately identified me as a sexist or a misogynist, please fuck off this channel immediately. Fuck off! Because we do not want your impulsively judgmental and incompetent asses here. Please get the fuck out. Get out! Because this is a channel for reasonable and emotionally stable people only. This is not an insult or assault video. This is an analytical and comparison video. So please understand the context. Now, what I'm going to be stating here are a collection of scientific and sociological facts of the difference between men and women. Some are common ones that you might be familiar with, others are not so common that you might never even heard of them before. But I'm not going to waste your time rambling about them using all the scientific and nerdy terms, as I'm only going to be stating what's necessary for you to know and understand. If you want to know all the details, the links are in the description down below. So firstly, we both have different anatomy and different hormonal profiles. Let's be honest here, we all know this one. But anyways, men have higher bone density and mineral content than women. That is why women are 4 times more likely to develop bone diseases like osteoporosis and scoliosis. Men have larger skulls than women with wider and higher shoulders, which translates to greater upper body strength. Women have wider pelvis, which translates to wider hips in order to accommodate pregnancy. Men have more lean muscle mass than women, which are necessary due to larger bones and joints, which translates to men having more raw strength and explosive power than women. Whereas women have more fat mass than men, which first of all is crucially required in order to regulate their menstrual cycle. Women who don't have a lot of fat mass can suffer from irregular periods. But this also translates to women being more resistant to fatigue than men, meaning women are better at cardio and endurance training than men because they produce more aerobic energy since they have a much higher fat mass than men, at least 10% more on average. And when it comes to aerobic and endurance training, the primary source of energy or fuel is fat, which again, women have a lot more than men. When it comes to the difference of our hormonal balance, reproductively, as we all know, men produces way more testosterone than women, about 20 times more, and women produces more estrogen and progesterone than men, and these are all in order to facilitate each gender-specific reproductive needs. And they also help translate to each gender-specific body composition, which I've mentioned earlier. Now, when it comes to neurotransmitters or the feel-good hormones, in terms of dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, or in other words, the main hormones that regulates and affects the mood, men produce more of them than women. That is why women experiences a lot more mood swings than men. Whereas women produce more oxytocin than men, which firstly, again, assists in their reproductive needs, but also helps in social bonding and also sexual and intimate activities. That is why when women fall in love, they get more emotionally attached, significantly more than men, because they feel it a lot more due to having more oxytocin. Number 2, our brains work differently. Yes, a lot of you might probably be unaware of this difference, and there is quite a lot of them. Now again, I'm not going to bother mentioning the scientific terms and explaining to you guys each and every part of the difference in each gender's brain because it's going to take me an entire decade to do that properly. But essentially, it's all to do with the different sizes, activities, and tissues in various parts of the brain. Now on average, women's brains were highly connected across the left and right hemispheres in contrast to men's brains, where the connections were typically stronger between the front and back regions. Women's brains also have more white matter tissue in contrast to men's dominance of grey matter tissue. Now I know all of those sounds like gibberish to some of you, however, they need to be mentioned for what's to come. But essentially, men's brains are more suited to information processing or compartmentalizing, structural work, perception, and motor control, which makes us better at spatial cognitive abilities, analytical thinking, and endeavors that require physical adaptations. Whereas women's brains are more suited to information integration, information assimilation, intuitive work, and emotional empathy, meaning their brains are more dynamic than men, which makes them better at multitasking, socializing, and remembering or recalling memories. Men's brains are also designed to cognitively process emotions in order to find solutions to emotional problems, which translates to them being more resistant to emotional pain and have more emotional control than women. Women's brains, on the other hand, are designed to capture social cues better than men, as they have better capability to understand other people's thoughts and feelings due to their empathetic tendencies, making them more capable in detecting lies than men. Now, due to their respective differences in brain compositions, each gender are also more prone to certain diseases which stems from their respective brain compositions. In terms of the dominant gray matter in the men's brains, any abnormalities and/or decay makes them more susceptible to suffer from Parkinson's disease, motor neuron disease, autism, and schizophrenia. Whereas in terms of the dominant white matter in women's brains, any abnormalities and/or decay makes them more susceptible to suffer from borderline personality disorders, bipolar disorder, and dementia. Right, now that we're done with the scientific part of the video, let's move on to the sociological part of the video where all the SJWs are going to get triggered. So thirdly, we are valued differently by society. If you are wondering why the preach of equal treatment isn't working, it's because of this very reason. A lot of people may be petrified to say the truth inside their own minds, but they know the truth because, as I've said it a million times, the truth is always self-evidential. Meaning you will inevitably witness or experience it one way or another while also having the notion that you have full awareness of its occurrence and existence. And this is probably the most sensitive point for all of you watching, even though deep down you know it's the truth. As you can see here, men and women are valued differently once again. For men, your honesty or integrity, financial success, leadership, strength, and work ethic are your most valuable traits, with physical appearance completing the upper half. In other words, your masculine attitude or character and your ability to provide as a provider trumps all. And while looks do matter, it is not as critically crucial as it is for women. And when it comes to women, physical attractiveness and feminine characteristics utterly trumps your aspiring careers and ambitions. And for women who are watching this video, please do not lie to yourselves. There is a reason why you put so much effort and thought into your physical appearance. You are innately aware that men prioritize your looks more than anything else, no matter how much you want to deny it. That is why you take hours to get ready. That is why you go to the gym to enlarge your glutes and legs to make your hips look wider and make you appear more sexually healthy and fertile. That is why you wear makeups. That is why you shave and zap your armpits. That is why you put on lotions on your skin to make them smoother. The beauty industry is significantly specified and marketed towards women and for women. Your youth and beauty is your greatest asset. This is a good example of what men genuinely value in women and what women genuinely value in men. They are different. Men do not value women's career, ambition, and financial success as significantly and critically as women do towards men. And in contrast, women do not value men's looks and feminine characteristics like vulnerability as critically as men do towards women. And if you think that all of this is a shallow perspective, no it isn't. It is simply the truth that so many of you are afraid to admit. When men hang around one another and talk about women, we don't talk about how thick your wallet is or how many people you know. We mainly talk about how beautiful and sexy you are and how much of a caring, nurturing, and supportive lady you are in terms of your personality. And when women hang around one another, they don't focus or spend too much time talking about how cute he is. They are more interested in his attitude, success, achievements, and status as a man. So all of you independent women watching, thinking that your lavish career and ambitions will attract the right men of the highest caliber, it's pretty much a futile effort as you are actually turning yourself into the man you want to be with. If you are genuinely and purely pursuing your careers and ambitions for your own sake and independently from attracting men, then fair enough, keep doing them. But I highly doubt it due to your agitative maternal instincts kicking harder at the door as you grow older. And lastly, we have different sexual or mating goals. Men innately and ideally have a singular sexual strategy, which is a lifelong exclusive access to an unlimited number of fertile, virgin females willing to mate, and offspring survival should be independent of paternal care. That is why in America, there is way more kids living with single mothers than single fathers in single-parent households. Over 80% of them. Daddy left after you were conceived and never came back. Women, on the other hand, innately have a dual mating strategy. One strategy involves selecting males with good, masculine genetics to pass on to their offspring. And this is no joke, as women's eggs are capable of selecting sperm cells that are more biologically preferred to their own individual respective eggs. The other strategy involves them obtaining a partner that have provider and material benefits for them and their offspring. Ideally, both strategies should be fulfilled by a single man, but we all know in the real world it is hardly the case. That is why, due to this dual mating strategy of women, there are a lot of families with offspring from different male partners. That is why a lot of marriages fail both due to infidelity and financial struggles. Now again, I know that this is going to be quite sensitive for you lot and may sound quite cruel and ruthless, but then again, the world is unforgiving, right? That is just how it's supposed to be. Humans are innately promiscuous in nature, and monogamy is a choice choice initiated and cultivated by cultures, religions, and/or personal morals or ethics. That is the reason why laws and civilization exist, in order to help us control our animalistic tendencies and instincts. Now, do not take these differences and comparisons out of context and take them offensively. Women and men are meant to be together. That is the only way the human race is going to survive in the future. We are much better together than we are apart. We are not equal, we are complementary. The only reason why we fail to be together or remain together is because we could not comprehend our individual roles in the relationship to the point where we can better serve them, which eventually results in the relationship's failure. That is why it is important for us to understand each specific gender roles and keep cultivating ourselves objectively to become better suited for that role, in order to better complement each other's strengths and weaknesses to eventually stand and remain together. Thank you for watching.